So Bitcoin, after not having a huge correction for quite some time, has fallen fairly precipitously after the ETFs were approved. So a couple of questions. Why is that, and will it persist? Now, one theoretical reason is that there was a tremendous amount of Bitcoin that was locked up in grayscale that was charging a 2% yearly fee. And because it was presumed that the ETF would never be approved by the SEC, it was trading far below actual value. You were getting a huge discount. And as it became more likely that the ETF would be approved, that gap narrowed significantly. And now that you can actually trade at par value your holdings in grayscale, a lot of that money is selling with a very substantial profit. And whether or not it moves into one of the other ETFs or into physical Bitcoin is another story. But that does account for a lot of the potential selling pressure, is that this is the first time that people have had the opportunity to sell at what is fair value their holdings and also move to a cheaper ETF that charges much less in fees, because even though Grayscale lowered their fees, it's still the highest amongst the ETFs. And that would account for some of the selling pressure. Now, will this continue? Right now, you have Wall Street orange pilling the masses. This is the front page of my Fidelity account when looking at it from my laptop. This is going to make many people curious, and it's far easier when the investment houses like Fidelity, like BlackRock, like Van Neck are telling you, hey, we approve of Bitcoin. It has been approved by the SEC. This removes a great hurdle to many deciding to invest in it, where they can merely call their broker and in one conversation, they can have a 1% of allocation to Bitcoin. And so right now you're seeing selling, but you also, in my opinion, are going to see many people that are becoming curious, that are being orange pilled by the commercials put out by BlackRock and Bitwise and Fidelity, by the websites, by the fact that many other people are becoming curious about Bitcoin and it is entering into the lexicon and into the Overton window of investing as a possibility. So I think that very soon in the near future, you are going to see an uptick in purchases, and the selling pressure that is likely because of Grayscale is going to disappear. Furthermore, you're going to very quickly in the next few months have the halving, where the block rewards are reduced by 50% from 6.25 to 3.125 every 10 minutes. That's the amount of Bitcoin that is released into the network for the miners who are keeping the ledger and have solved the complex mathematical equation. Essentially, all the hash rate, which is the amount of electricity produced, is basically like a lottery ticket, the number of guesses, and that is who earns the block rewards, and whoever produces the most hash has the greatest number of lottery tickets, thus the greatest chance to win. But the amount is going to be half, so the supply that is on the market is going to be far less once we get through the grayscale selling and through the halving, where the amount that the miners are going to be able to sell is going to be minimal compared to what it is today. And so you are going to see a decrease in supply. And even if demand stays the same, and as I said before, I think that demand will, for the product of Bitcoin, will increase fairly dramatically with people becoming used to it, again, within the Overton window of investing, within the acceptable parameters. And right now, a lot of people that got into Bitcoin early have been able to front run Wall Street, have been able to front run the retail investing crowd that relies on their brokers. And you are going to see a spike up, and I don't know when, and this is not financial advice, this is just me looking at things logically, according to me at least, as within the data that I have and how I see things progressing. So you will see a spike in the Bitcoin price. Who knows when, but fairly soon, and it is likely to be fairly substantial as well. Bitcoin is the only asset that is decentralized, that the government has no control over, that is a bearer asset, where if you hold it on an independent hard drive, an offline wallet, it is almost impossible to seize from you, and you can do with it what you want. And the control factor is what Elizabeth Warren is trying to employ. They want to be able to control your Bitcoin and what you can and cannot do, what you can and cannot buy, which is why they're developing the CBDCs. This is the centralized power that they desire, and Bitcoin alleviates that. And that is another reason that people are going to be adopting it. So when Jamie Dimon calls it a pet rock, no, it actually performs a function. It performs a function like gold, where you're able to store wealth that is far more unconfiscatable than gold, as well as far easier to move. Imagine trying to move $100,000 of gold across the border. How quickly do you think that's going to be taken you from you by authorities or thieves, whereas people that are moving Bitcoin across borders can just merely hold 12 words in their head and reconstitute their treasure from another location with a hard drive. And it's that simple. So you're going to see the orange pilling of the masses, and I do expect that this is a temporary downturn for the price of Bitcoin, and you're going to see it shoot up pretty rapidly in the next few months. Let me know your thoughts below. Peace.